What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your co-host CJ, here with my lovely co-host ZD on this Wednesday, November 12th night. How are you doing tonight, ZD?
Um, we've been chopping it up for like 30 minutes, but bro, I'm a kid in a candy store, and we just bought the ESPN package because we had honestly been I've been allegedly illegally streaming it, but we had to make a decision, an executive decision. Lakers Thunder. I mean, man, I'm very excited. I'm interested to see how these two teams shape up. And for me personally, I've been going through a lot, and it's just something I look forward to, man. I always tell you it's just something we can count on. I
Mm-hmm.
think these two teams so far, they've been atop of the NBA. So they've been proven to us. Obviously the Thunder, the most recent champions, doing it in 7 games, the way that they did it, they fought to the end. They're the defending champs, bro. Everybody's coming to get them. And then, of course, the Lakers are chasing that target on their back. Luka Doncic averaging 38 points a night, not even on the MVP ballot as of now, right?
Crazy.
Like, some of those things
Nonsense.
are Nico Harris, right, getting gone. Like, we're going to talk about that. But yeah, I'm extremely excited, bro, and I'm thankful I got you, man, because we've been able to just keep this going, bro. So how are you feeling, man?
Man, I'm doing great, bro. Being able to chop it up with you a little bit before we started recording like we usually do and just catching up and like you said, getting the whole ESPN thing so we could watch the game. And we're actually going to be live on Assist. Obviously, this is probably going to be after it, but
I had to
uh,
keep a secret.
got to keep it. You know what I'm saying? You'll see it, and yeah, just
You'll see it.
being able to watch hoops and chop it up with you, bro. It's been great these past 3 years that we've been doing it. The past year consistently and starting this year off strong. It's been super exciting for me because just being able to be locked into something that I've always loved and have the conversation with another person that loves it just as much as me. It's always great, chopping it up with you about hoops, bro. So excited to get into this pod,
100%.
man. Like you said, yeah, Nico Harrison just got fired the other night, so that's going to be a huge
Gosh.
portion of that this pod. And then obviously we have the preview of the Thunder and Lakers coming up soon, and that's gonna be a majority of this episode. But it's been a
Yeah.
lot, bro. I think if you want to start off with the Monday night
Of
games,
course.
bro. We've been
Yeah, bro.
we chopped it
We
up.
did a pod. Yeah, we did a pod Monday night, and then we ended up going into the late game. The Lakers had played the early game.
Mm-hmm.
So mind you, I had pulled it up because I went upstairs. We in the apartment right now. Shout out the war room, but went upstairs, bro. I pulled up my laptop so I could get the Like, I just pulled up the full game because I just replayed it, and then I was able to watch the multi view on my phone and on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
And dude,
Man.
what an NBA night that was. That might have been, seriously, like, in the last 2 years. I just told this to CJ, but like, one of the best nights of basketball I think I've ever experienced. And truly, bro, like, I'm a hoop head, so when we get nights like this, I like freak out. I
Yeah.
like kind of freak out. Like, I don't eat. I just kind of watch. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I lose myself in the game, honestly, bro. So the first one I turned on was Detroit and the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, this is, or not the Cavs, sorry, Detroit and the Wizards.
Wizards, yeah.
This is a banger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here like, the Wizards are over here competing. We saw Chris Middleton, Trey Johnson was getting to the rim with ease. Obviously, Cam Whitmore with that punch on Jalen Duren. Like, I had to skip back some of that game just so I could get the flow of it.
Mm-hmm.
Cade Cunningham shooting 45 times. How do you feel about that, bro?
Man, obviously it wasn't a great efficient night, but bro, when you score 46 points and get
The triple double.
triple doubles, it's look past it. Obviously, a lot of shots, but just what he's been able to do, bro. I think just it shows his aggressiveness and shows that he's the guy of the team. If everyone didn't know that already, but I
Yeah.
like to see that. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you want to be efficient, but I like to see someone kind of when it's your game, like go out there and get to it, bro.
Go out there
Obviously,
and get to it.
yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Just because
dude.
I feel like we don't see that often. You don't see nights like that. The type of performance he had. So I thought it was great. I mean, I it's just
Yeah.
hoops. I love seeing it.
Yeah, but well, the play of the game in that one I ended up seeing too was Jalen Duren on that backdoor cut for that slam
Mm,
to give the Pistons that lead. And obviously the Wizards folded, but I did tell CJ I love the fight, man.
mm,
A lot of teams have shown that they are capable of competing. The Pistons were at full strength. The
mm,
Wizards, On the other hand, they're playing with house money. They're not expected to win.
Hmm.
Took them to overtime, and it was a well fought loss. I think the Wizards fans should be proud because Detroit is a solidified playoff team. Like that's
Solidified.
one of the better teams in the NBA. So did want to give them credit for that.
Hmm.
Alex Sarr looks great.
Yep.
My goodness,
Hmm.
right? We've spoken about him, and Koulibaly did go down in this one again, and he's on your dynasty team. He'll be out. And
Hmm.
your best ability is your availability, but I like what I'm seeing from the Wizards, and obviously the Pistons getting that W in that fashion at the Palace of Auburn Hills, right? We
Man.
we tried to highlight that matchup. We always said Monday Night Hoops has something to surprise you with, and I flipped it to the Cavs Heat, right? We talked about the pace in that game, and sure enough, it lived up to the billing.
Hmm.
Immediately flipping that on and just seeing Evan Mobley really do some special things. I told CJ he had a play in this game towards the end of the fourth quarter where they were down two. I think it was to give them a lead by one, but Evan Mobley comes down, did a little shifty move against Khalil Ware, and shot a three with some confidence. And honestly, I was shocked he shot it. I was like, that's not really a good shot. Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
okay. Yeah.
And I was
Switches
like,
it.
all right, well, that's what we need from Evan Mobley.
Hmm.
And I told this to CJ. I love the Cavaliers. I've spoken highly of them, but I am pretty close to being out on them. I feel like Darius Garland's unavailability recently has really hurt them, and I feel like Donovan Mitchell's usage is just way too
Out
high.
of the
You're just
roof.
asking him to do way too much in the overtime. You saw him hit that fadeaway three. I mean, I was going crazy, man. I think you had texted me about that, but I had seen that just like as that notification came through. He's been going nuclear. Like Donovan Mitchell's clearly, second team, first team All NBA type player. It's just can he do this for 70 more games?
Right.
I think the Heat on the other side, though, Jaime Jaquez, Norman Powell, my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean,
They were down Bam and Tyler Hero, obviously, so they didn't even have their main guys, and they were still able
their
to
main guys,
get this
right? And
dub.
then
Yep.
seeing what happened with Beal today, kind of right? Like
Yeah.
that transaction doesn't look too pretty for those that don't know. Season-ending hip surgery for Bradley Beal, and that was the replacement for Norman Powell. And
Hmm.
Norman Powell's having an all-star type season.
Yep.
I think he finished with like 25, 27 points in this one, and didn't really have it going in that overtime as much as like he had it going in the fourth, but he did give him that spark to get him to OT, and obviously that final play, right?
Hmm.
The inbound, people saw it, that alley oop. I mean, it's hard. Dean Wade, I don't really know what he's doing running to the top of the key like that. With
Right.
Norman Powell, he's not really going to shoot it from half court with .4 left. But boy, did
It
I
was.
see a really cool play, and Wiggins got it. It's just you don't really see too many alley oops like that, so that was really cool to see.
Hmm.
And then see the next game. Going through my head a little bit. Wembanyama, of course, the Bulls versus the Spurs, another great, legendary in the United Center.
Hmm.
It was a little later for me, so I was catching the end of the third quarter going into the fourth in this one. Kind of flipping around, but I did want to start with, I mean, the play that Wemby had, the block. He had a block on one end, comes down, hits a three. It's kind of like we've seen this so many times from him. I think he's been probably the most dangerous player in the NBA, like I mentioned on the podcast earlier. And the Bulls, man, putting up a fight. I think Trey Jones has been awesome for them. They were out without Giddey in this one and Kobe White. Vucevic was putting up a hell of a fight. And I just love the way that they played. There was a lot of great defense being played in this game alongside great offense. So I think Stephon Castle as well had a really nice in and out move on Trey Jones, was able to finish with the left hand. I just saw so many great things. But of course, the end of the game, Wembanyama with the clear out, it was just this swan song, kind of beautiful ensemble, you could say. He holds the ball on his right hand, kind of clears everybody out. Darren Fox is in the corner and Stephon Castle's in the corner. Everybody knows what's going to happen in the stadium. He hits Vooch, which that crossover shakes him a little bit. Vooch kind of stumbles back, and then Wemby hits the three, man, as if he's a 6'3" Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And it's something to behold, truly. I said it to myself. I'm like, to be alive in the world of Shohei Ohtani and Victor Wembanyama,
Mm.
it's just
It's
you may
unbelievable.
never see those guys again. So I'm just very thankful. And honestly, like my night finished watching the Hornets and the Lakers game. I tried to focus on that and let's finish up with that. I think Concanuple's awesome. Brother, like the night he almost had a triple double, a 20-point triple double.
Mm-hmm.
He's been their best player so far this season because he's been available and also putting up the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say it's LaMelo Ball, it's Colin Knuppel.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Sexton, another person who doesn't get a ton of credit, was really good. DeAndre Ayton, bro, first play of the game, Austin Reeves, little lob. I think our chemistry between AR, Ayton, Luca, and Ayton has been awesome. Doncic, bro. In this one, the Hornets aren't going to double. We know Coach Smith is very reluctant to do that. He doesn't really care. And that's fine. Luca's going to torch you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the Thunder double tonight. I don't think they
I
will.
don't think they
They'll
would.
probably play him straight up.
Mm.
But if you play him straight up, he'll
He's
get
gonna,
35.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's what I was actually watching the Hornets broadcast, bro, because they have better announcers.
they do.
Just by the way, Lakers Comcast got to step it up a little bit, but those guys are pretty energetic.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about Luca, and the way that he sees the game is something that they've never seen before. And I honestly thought about it. I'd have to agree. It's like LeBron sees the game in his own way. Jokic sees the game in his own way. But the way Luca can create offense. Rui Hachimura had a great second quarter, had a little spurry of 6, 7 points in a row. I just, I mean, we're going to talk about it with the Mavericks and the Luca AD trade. I just cannot believe this guy's on my team. I'm watching us play the Hornets. We gave up a decent amount of points.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the best night defensively. I'd argue I've come on this podcast the last 2 or 3 times, CJ, and told you, man, our defenses suck. You'll see in a stat later when we go through the Thunder Lakers preview before we do the stream, like they've sucked the last 5 games on defense. I think they're 118 defensive rating. They're giving up 120 points per 100 possessions. Like it's just, even against the Hornets, I'd argue like the defensive effort is just not there. That was a big note that I had. And Austin Reeves, man, like I love the guy. I think his averages will come down just naturally that Luka's back. He wasn't super quiet in this one. He actually had a pretty efficient game, got 20 points and another 9 assists as well. But I think the 50-point nights are probably over. Like that's going to be a career night for him. But I am really thankful that he does play alongside Luka and he's just that second initiator that we have. And the LeBron timetable is interesting, man. He's ramping up with the G League. I'm not like too concerned of whether or not he'll come back because I don't think he's really gonna change the course of our season. Like the way that we're playing is, I think, the way that we'll play.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 8-3 after, or I think we're 8-3 after 11 games. I mean, hey man, like we're in the mix of everything. Every win counts, even against the Hornets. I think the Hornets played a lot better than the final score shows, but at the end of the day in this league, man, and I told you this before we got on, like these wins and losses count no matter how early or how deep into the season you are. And whether it's in fantasy, dynasty, real bad, like it doesn't matter. So hopefully guys are taking it serious. I saw the post presser and JJ was very like adamant about that. Us taking every team seriously, not overlooking a team like the Hornets or the Wizards, right? We spoke about some of the games that happened on Monday. Like, teams are competitive, bro.
Yeah.
You brought it up to me, before we hopped on, but like, all 30 teams are going. Like, there's not really a team that's like just gonna roll over right now, besides like Nets a little bit.
Yeah.
But even them, they'll still compete. MPJ's still going out there and competing. They put up a good fight the other night as well. So I just think the league's in a good spot and you're able to get that W. And that was the most important thing to me. Can we beat the Hornets, play a little bit better defensively? I think Marcus Smart ended up, playing some good defense and he's been our best defensive player, but I know what I'm going to get from him. I think it's just the connectivity like I've brought up, but I don't want to talk about it too much. We have a lot to talk about today, but just a lot of good stuff, a lot of good hoops. And I'm thankful we were able to get the win because that's the most important thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, bro. Like, I brought it up to you earlier. I think Monday night basketball is better than Monday night football at this point, bro. Especially with that game that was going on, in the midst of all this. Obviously that's probably gonna get more
I didn't
views.
even watch Monday night football.
Neither did I, brother. Like I was like not even on my mind. You know what I mean? Because I saw these games and how close they were. But yeah, no, bro. It's been great just seeing all the people competing, younger guys stepping up. Got the surprise and, with the Heat, didn't really expect them to be doing well without their 2 main guys. Tyler Hero, we knew he was going to be out, but that Bam injury, I was like, oh, this may not be as competitive. But, bro, that just the way that they've been playing, bro, super fast pace. Jaime Jaquez
Yeah,
is kind of having like another resurgence of his career. Had that sophomore slump last year, and then has kind of, I think it has a lot to do with the offense as well. It's just kind of letting them
to
play
say.
freely, and I think that's something that they're all benefiting from. And you get Norman Powell, you're getting all the Khalil Ware stepping up. So the Miami Heat, bro, they're one of those teams that I feel like they're always kind of in the midst of things. But this season, the way that they're starting off so far, the way they're looking, they might be one of those teams in the playoffs to upset one of the higher seeds. But I'm liking the way that they look, bro, and just all that whole slate of the games, bro.
Oh, it was great.
Giannis
Bucks
versus
Mavericks
Bucks
too.
Mavericks. We just seeing Cooper Flag kind of had his
We didn't talk
career
about it.
high
Yeah,
going. I think he scored 26, and one of the main plays that I was thinking of was when he kind of attacked Giannis. Obviously Giannis being who we know who he is, all defense, defense, DPOY, MVP. The fact that Cooper Flag took him on, attacked the tree and got the and one, bro. It's
yeah, got this. Yeah,
just those type of plays, bro. Obviously, the Bucks were able to get this win, but that was another great game too. And just, bro, the Desmond Bain game winner. We talk
uh-huh.
about the Magic a lot on this podcast, and just seeing them get that win. Even if it was a little lucky, that might not have been the best shot at the time, but it went down, and that's something
What
they needed,
matters?
bro. Because if they weren't gonna, get that win, we might have to have a different type of conversation about the Magic, bro. Obviously, we have a decent sample size now, so we kind of are seeing what they can be. But just games like that, bro. Game winners, overtimes. We got everything Monday night, so it was a hoop head's dream, and just the fact that like we were saying, we hop on the podcast, we preview these games, and Monday nights aren't usually the greatest. Man, I think we gotta stop saying that at this point. We gotta expect that there's
Yeah,
gonna be some good game that night, because beginning of the week, you don't know how these guys are gonna go, but everyone's been competitive, like you said, bro, and it makes the league a lot more enjoyable to watch. Whenever we're actually able to watch it, but yeah, no, bro, it's I guess I could talk about the Thunder real quick before we hop
yeah,
into the Nico
yeah,
switch.
for sure.
So
Yeah, go ahead. I think I mean, they keep winning games.
they keep winning games, bro.
They
We went against the
kill
Golden
everyone.
State Warriors yesterday, Tuesday. Was able to watch the first like half of the game. We had PCT day, so was doing that, but ended up watching the recap, and I got a couple notes, man. So just starting off, man. Chet started out super aggressive in the first quarter. Obviously, we know what game he had, but by the end of it, but just seeing him be aggressive, his first, he had 7 of our first 10 points. So two of those were jump shots that he created from the paint, contested. Quentin Post was trying to do his best guarding him, and then his third bucket was a three. And I feel like that's been the game, the thing that has changed the game for Chet this season is that he's been able to pretty consistent. Like he might be. Last time I checked, this was like a week ago, mind you, but he was our best 3-point shooter at that time, and it was like a 41%. So I don't know if it's gone down since then. I haven't checked as of late, but at that time he was, and just his game evolving and turning into a consistent jump shooter for us. It just opens up our offense, and the fact that he's able to, it seems like he's aggressive, but it's more controlled. And I feel like that's the thing with Chet that, I've talked to you about it. I've said it on the podcast, a decent amount of times when you have that unicorn build, when you're a 7-foot player that can dribble, shoot, dunk on people, post
Demigod.
people up, demigod. Yeah. Like it's hard to kind of, and when you're younger, you don't know what you want to do. You're kind of just all over the place because you could do so much. But it looks like Chet is kind of fine tuning his game. And, I think someone on the call a couple games ago had said it. It's like, man, he's so long. You know what I mean? Like he just could get to the rim. Like he puts his arm up and he could like do a layup essentially. So it seems like he's gotten a lot more comfortable on the offensive side. It seems like he's getting to his spots and he's knocking down his jumpers. So him being able to do that for us opened up our offense completely, and it is a huge reason why whenever he plays, I think the season he's averaging like 20-7. So numbers are boosted up a little bit, and it's the way he was averaging before his injury last year. So I think a healthy Chet, this is probably the type of player that we're going to be getting from him on a year in year out basis. But next point that I have, bro, watching the game, the condensed game. the playmaking at SGA has been what I'm most impressed with this season. You know, I talked about it a lot of times, saying that he's not the greatest playmaker. He's slowly kind of shutting me up about that, bro, because a lot of the passes that I saw him making, you know, not even just this game, just the past couple games, you know, like I feel like he draws so much attention to the on the defense that it's leaving these guys open, but they're tough passes because they know that we're crashing on Shea, someone else is going to be open. But it seems like more likely than not, he's going to be able to get that bounce pass through bodies or just a skip pass to the corner, or, you know, those type of plays. You know, he's been super impressive for me. Obviously, I know what he can do on the offensive side and even on the defensive side, but the playmaking ability for him is improving a lot this season. So wanted to bring that up. And man, my next point, man, we blitzed them to start the second quarter. You know, at that point, we had a 16-point lead. First quarter was pretty even, I would say, for the most part. But second quarter, that's really when we kind of took control. You know, the Warriors were not able to get their offense going. A lot of their shots they made were late in the shot clock, you know, in that second quarter. So, meaning not really able to get a good shot going, so we're just going to chuck it up. And you know, they were making some of those. Obviously, we had a pretty big lead from the second quarter on, but up to that point, just it's looked very not stuck in mud, but it just they're not hitting their shots, you know, and not creating a fluid offense that we know the Golden State Warriors to be. You know, they had moments in the game, right, where, you know, they move, skip, or pass, you know, drive, kick it out, like, you know, that's what we're accustomed to seeing from the Warriors, and I feel like we haven't really been seeing that from them lately. So wanted to bring that up. And I think in the third quarter, we had back-to-back possessions where our bigs made some great passes. The first one was Chet lobs it to iHeart, and then the second one was iHeart with a backdoor bounce pass to AJ Mitchell. You know, the screen where they run around iHeart, the person's trailing, and he just bounces it. That's what makes him such an elite playmaker at the center position, or power forward center position, whatever he's playing at the time. But I feel like a lot of players attempt to make those type of passes, and it usually ends up being a steal, or they bounce it too hard and it goes out of bounds. Like IR has mastered that, and that's why his assist numbers are where they're at, and why he's such a huge focal point of our offense whenever we don't have Shea or AJ Mitchell in, or someone that can create their own jumper, you know, or shot creation for themselves. You know, they rely a lot on iHeart setting those screens and getting those backdoor cuts, or even a lob to Chet. You know what I mean? Like I've said that a lot, but, you know, wanted to highlight that because that's a huge part of why we are so successful, because our bigs are can play make and create for each other or create for someone else whenever they like a off the ball player coming off of a screen or whatever. So wanted to bring that up. And man, you know, my second to last point, Chet had himself a game, bro. You know, I think he ended up being perfect from the line. He was Sorry, he had 23 and 11, and he was 9 from 9 from the field with two from three as well, and 3 from 3 from the line. So had a perfect game essentially. Had 2 turnovers, so it wasn't a perfect game, right? But shooting wise, had probably his best performance I've seen. And like I was saying, you know, to start it off, you know, in the first quarter, just seeing how aggressive he was trying to get to his, you know, create his shot, get his shots, you know, just attacking the rim, you know, catching lobs, bro. Like that's why Chet was, you know, such a high draft pick for us. You know, you think he was a second draft pick, right behind Paolo. So seeing what he's turned into, what he can be, fine tuning his game, and obviously what he can provide for us on the defensive side too. That was a huge focal point of what we needed and why we weren't successful a couple seasons ago. And the fact that we have 2 bigs that are reliable, that could play defense and have, you know, games where they could drop 30 each. You know, we've seen iHeart do that a couple games ago. You know what I mean? So just blessed that I have good bigs, bro, because I feel like that's such a key point of this game, and just being able to secure a rebound, because that was something, like I was saying, 2 years ago, where offensive rebounds we were giving up to our opponents and just not getting the board. You know, like it's there, grab the ball. You know. And my last point to end this off, been bringing him up a lot. He's on my dynasty team, so you already know I got to bring him up. AJ Mitchell's shot making ability still impresses me, bro. It's I one of the plays what that made me write this note. He had the ball at the top of the key, and they were just kind of like go get a bucket. Bro, you could tell that him and Shea are obviously in the same like position room, right? You could see that the tendencies, the hesitation, the like fake head fakes, and then you draw contact, get an and one. I was like, man, like that's what we need that, you know what I mean? Because if whenever Shea isn't on the court, or even when he is, he's still able to do stuff like that. And I feel like with him being on our team, bro, just that opens up our offense even more. And we have someone else that besides Shea to actually be able to play make for others and for himself. So, wanted to bring him up, but this was a good game, bro. Like I said, first
Yeah.
quarter was probably our worst quarter. And then second quarter, the Warriors only scored 19 points. So, like I said, that offense was looking very stuck in mud, which is very surprising for the Warriors because we're so used to them being a fluid offense and chucking up threes, knocking them down. And,
Yeah.
we were able to really nullify that and only held them to 102 points. So, that's a recipe for success for us. Our 3-pointers, we were 37%. So that's slowly climbing up, like I was saying, when if we're able to knock those down, that's what really gives us the a high net rating, because once those start knocking
Yeah.
down, everyone is going to play the same type of defense or 1 through 12 on our team, so that's not the issue. It's just if every people can knock down those 3-point shots, and that's what makes us such a great team, bro. So another
So
good
dangerous.
dub. We go to 11-1 on the season, 5-0 at home, and we got y'all tonight, bro, coming off of back to back. Got the Lake Show coming to OKC, so I'm excited, bro. It's gonna be a good one. Can't wait.
Yeah, like we'll talk about that in a second. I think people want the cake.
Oh
Let's give
yeah.
them cake, Nico Harrison, man. I'm gonna set the scene. You guys have to understand the gravity of the situation, okay? So he took over as GM, president, basketball operations in Dallas in 2021. Under his watch, the Mavericks built up a competent roster around Luka. So we know they made moves. PJ Washington, right? Grabbing Kyrie Irving. Those were all Nico Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so don't forget that. All right. They reached the Western Conference Finals in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, and the NBA Finals in 2024. They were 3 wins away from potentially beating the Boston Celtics, who were at the time potentially one of the greater dynasties that we had seen. Now, that dynasty is in question. Unfortunately, in February, I think when did that trade happen?
I think it was February.
It was February, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to mess that up. In February, because I remember I was with you when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you guys a little backstory. CJ and I think we had did a pod,
Podcast.
right?
Mm-hmm. We had just shot.
And
We were
so
chilling, and
we just shot. Like we were chilling outside, and this is not Nico Harrison's story, but it ties into it a little bit. Chilling outside, and get the dun dun. It's like the Dallas Mavericks have traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first round pick. Shams Charania, right? Like at first, we saw the news, we went crazy, we went ham, right? We're like, no fucking. I think my reaction is on. I think it's on somewhere in our social media,
Mm-hmm.
but that happened. It was live, and I was with CJ. Nico Harrison at the time described the move that defense wins championships. Okay, whenever AD arrived, he said that in the presser. I think the day after. So just keep that in mind. Let's fast forward to now. Okay, so let's skip a little bit of the middle. I'll let you break down kind of the firing, but now Nico Harrison is out of the building. Right, it's November 12th, 2025. The Mavericks are 3-8, and they're sitting near the bottom of the Western Conference. Outside of getting extremely, mind you guys, before this happened, they didn't know they were getting Cooper Flag. That's also that's a big part of the story. There was no. Nico Harrison made this trade without the assumption they were getting the number 1 pick as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward today, they have Cooper Flag. He's 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting, whatever the case may be. I wanted to break down something that happened. It was pretty interesting. I think the other night, when Dallas was playing, I think it was the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Bucks. It was the game the other day. Dallas was playing the Bucks. There was a kid who was in the courtside section. Patrick Dumont is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Security let this kid through. He was wearing a Luka jersey, whatever. Supposedly, through the Athletic, I've gotten this information. You guys can go fact check me, but the guy was trying to apologize to Patrick, who's the owner of the Mavs, for flipping him off about a game a while back for the Luka Doncic trade. Supposedly, Patrick Dumont admitted to the guy that it was a mistake. Now, this is a day before the firing, right? So, just kind of giving the audience some background there, right? In 2025, they made this trade. It was a blockbuster deal. At the time, we all knew it was probably one of the worst trades that we had seen in NBA history, potentially the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think we had any time to really think about it. However many months have passed, 8 to 10 months have passed, and now Nico Harrison is out of the building as basketball president and GM operations of the Dallas Mavericks. And it's, I don't have too much to say because I am a Lakers fan. And so for me, like personally, I think I'm very happy with the trade. Obviously, we want Luka Doncic, but from the outside looking in, the rage that Nico Harrison brought the fan base, the scrutiny he put Jason Kidd under, and the just outright foolishness that the decisions that he made, how they impacted the Mavericks. I have no sympathy for him as a basketball operationalist because one of two things. One, me and CJ both know that trade is ludicrous, and anybody with like a brain, even if you didn't speak about basketball, if you knew Luka and Anthony Davis, you knew that was a bad trade. But two, like if you were to trade your generational player, you have to get the house back for him. And like I mentioned 5 minutes ago, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the 2029 first round pick is not the house. I think he's completely failed the franchise. I didn't want this to be the case, but I wanted to see them do well. Obviously, the Kyrie Irving injury plays a part as well. We didn't know he was going to tear his ACL. But the fact that the Mavericks are sitting here now, and I need to paint this picture too. Nico traded away the 2028, the 2029, the 2020, the 2030 first round picks to build around Luka Doncic. The Dallas Mavericks don't have future first round picks. They have next year's first round pick, and that's it. 2027 through 2030 is locked up by other teams because of Luka. I think it's a double whammy here. Nico Harrison exits as a villain, a face of evil in that city. And he's cost them 6 to 7 years of runway here by shortening the quote unquote championship window with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Just unbelievable. I don't have a ton of words outside of the fact that I'm shocked. I'm thankful and shocked at the same time, but for Mavericks fans, this has to be the biggest disaster in franchise history to this point. You guys haven't been around a long time, but it is the biggest blemish that is on the Mavericks record right now. The Fire Nico chants hail down from American Airlines. I'm sure that they still will hail down probably for the rest of the season, even though he's been fired. That's how angry they were standing outside the Dirk statue cursing Nico Harrison. I'm serious, guys. This was like trading LeBron James in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't see a franchise go through things like this. And I'm trying to think about some of the worst trades in history. You can go to football, like Herschel Walker, the Dallas Cowboys, the magic that Jerry Jones did. A lot of people don't know this, but there was a poison pill in that trade for the Vikings that said if Jerry Jones cut 2 to 3 players, that they would become picks, first round picks. And he ended up doing that. And so for sports fans, Herschel Walker is one of the better running backs of all time in the NFL. I'd say that was one of the worst trades. This is another one too. Did my research, ABA NBA merger, Dr. J. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know that this happened. This wasn't really a trade, but it was a transaction that they were forced to make. The Sixers didn't, they were in a position where they were already been merged. The Nets were coming in from the ABA, and the Nets didn't have enough cash to become a part of the NBA. And to get the cash, they had to sell Dr. J to the Sixers
Mm.
for
And
$3 million. And John Elway,
mm,
if you guys remember, didn't want to go to Indianapolis. Okay, fine. You get your way out of there. Eli Manning did that with the Chargers. He didn't want to play there. He was able to get out of there. The Broncos fleeced the Colts, ended up giving them, I think, a really good left tackle, a first round pick, and that's it for John Elway. 2 decades of Hall of Fame quarterbacking. Some of those things you just don't forget, right? But this one might sting more than all of those trades put together. And there's Hall of Famers in those conversations. They're not nobodies, but neither is Luka Doncic. And the number one rule that I would create if I was a GM is just we don't trade generational players, even for other generational players. I gave CJ a scenario trading Luka for SGA straight up. Sounds like a fair trade. There's no reason to do it. Why? You're trading one for one, and both people have to restart on a new team with new players. It doesn't really make sense.
mm,
So it's like this is just a triple Rammy, if you want to call it. Nico Harrison is out of the building. You guys are out first round picks, and none of it makes sense. And it may not make sense for a long time. But this saga has finally come to an end. We're no longer going to talk about it over and over. He's not in the building. Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi become interim GMs, guys in basketball operations. Michael Finley, former Maverick and Spur, NBA champion. But co-GMing doesn't sound like a great answer to me. I mean, it's just like me and you trying to run a team.
right.
But at this point, I think Patrick Dumont, from a business perspective too, is in a world of hurt. I didn't bring this up, but when you trade Luka, your pockets get hurt. Jersey sales go down. Ticket sales go down. Concession sales go down because people aren't in the seats. You lose out on so much money, and so I think Nico Harrison cost them their future. He cost them their present, and he cost them their identity, which was Luka Doncic. Wow.
Mm.
I think I'm gonna end on that one.
Yeah,
He
that
cost them
was
their identity.
yeah, you said it, bro. There it's to this day is still looked at as it's one of those things where it was bigger than basketball. There's people that
Yeah.
at work that were coming up to me like, "Oh, you keep up with basketball, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." They're like, "Did you get the Luca?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah, bro." Like that's they're like, "What is he doing?" Like, fire Nico, right? And I'm like, "Yes." Like, so when it gets bigger to the point where the masses are kind of questioning it, then that's how you know you fucked up. And the fact that it took them this long, obviously, you just asked me like, hey, should they fire Nico? And I at the time I was like, I mean, at this point, if you haven't fired him, why do it now? It
Why
make
would?
it,
Yeah.
it but it makes sense. And I'm honestly I'm glad they did because I just feel like he had unrealistic expectations. You know what I mean? Like I said, when the trade happened, y'all know what I thought. I've talked to you about it, ZD. I thought they were gonna be decent, but I didn't think about injuries, and that's something that you have to think of, especially when you're trying to. The next year window is the next 2 to 5 years. You just lost a year from Kyrie. You know, you had a year of AD, but wasn't really able to get the production that you wanted out from him. So now you have Cooper Flag, who is y'all's light at the end of the tunnel, but I think you were saying like even he wasn't liking what the Mavericks were building and the vibes of the team, right? So it gets to a point where you just kind of have to you have to bite the bullet. It sucks that he put y'all in the situation, but you are in Dallas, you have Cooper Flag, maybe that might attract some people, but it's going to be tough for them, bro. They're going to have to do it through free agency. And then, I mean, I'm kind of thinking right now, like, do they tank this season? You know what I mean? Do they,
Yeah.
because they have this upcoming drafts pick, which is one of the better drafts we've had, but what are the fans gonna think of that? You know what I mean? You literally traded someone away who took y'all to the finals, like you said, Western Conference Finals. Y'all were successful since he had been there, really, and now you're kind of changing the environment to be, well, now we're thinking about the future. You're gonna have to kind of stick it out with us to see what this team ends up being, and it's something that Nico was trying to preach. The whole defense wins championships, right? But you gotta be realistic with some of your
Yeah.
expectations. You know what I mean?
And even like to go deeper into it, like when I was with you, I think it was like 11 p.m.
It was late.
Central. These cats are making these deals deep into the like this is like a backdoor type of like this wasn't I think that happened that day.
Mm-hmm.
Like he made the call that day, Plinka picked up and was like, holy shit, we're gonna get Luka
Luka.
Doncic. Like it wasn't like, and that it seems very hasty. And you can even see like I think when Luka's first game, like he was, he couldn't really he was shaking, bro. I think like LeBron was telling him to fit in, like he didn't really know what to do. Like he had an okay first game, right? It wasn't horrible, but it's just like he doesn't really know what to do. And then like you kind of like you see him hop off the plane, he's a little overweight. And then Anthony Davis too, like we just get him on out of there. They're just like, oh yeah, go ahead. Thanks for the 2020 championship ring, but see ya. Just pushing him out the door. I think he got a call. Not even again, bro. This shit is so like shady. But like cats don't even like tell you they don't have time to tell you face to face. I'm being serious. Since it happened now, they go, Anthony Davis, hey bro, you've been traded, man. And so effective immediately, you gotta get your bags. Like I'm serious. There's no love for these bro. These cats are millionaires. They can get your stuff. We'll get you on out of here. Like it's all good. Just sad. I think the Dalton Connect thing is sad because that stemmed from the Luka thing too. That cat. I love Dalton Connect, but I don't know if he'll be a Laker in 2 years, and it's okay because they tried to trade him away to like appease Luka or whatever. Like clearly, like there's other players that are involved from that. Max Christie as well, and like you said, man, timing is everything, and it may have been defensible if it worked, but the fact that it's not working. I wanted to bring up too, Anthony Davis has been active for 14 of the possible 44 games that he's been scheduled to play for the Mavericks. And it's one of the reasons why we traded him, right? Like some of those gripes were, you guys heard it coming from me. I'm like, is Anthony Davis going to be out there? And Plinka's smart, man. He's from around the corner. Like he knows what he's doing. And he's willing to sever relationships. Like he doesn't care about LeBron's relationship with Anthony Davis. Like they're gonna go get Luka, and I think it's impactful because it was with my team as well. Like if it was with the Thunder, I'm sure you would. But just like I did tell CJ. I think the Lakers are very lucky. Just in general, I think this is kind of besides the Mavericks, but like we've just always fallen into think about the Stepien rule. Why was that instituted? Well, the Cavs gave us 4 first-round picks.
4, yeah.
And they're like, wait, you can't trade your draft picks 8 years from now. Not all 4 of them or 5 of them. Sure enough, it turns into, James Worthy, like players like that, right? Like Hall of Fame players that George Stepien just refused to see the future. But we've benefited, like the Lakers directly benefit, not the Thunder, the Lakers, right? Like we got championships out of that. And, we've benefited from a lot of poor management from other teams. And like, I did want to come on here and say that like the Lakers are one of the luckier franchises for sure in the NBA, just based off the fact that a lot of our success comes from some other franchises' mishaps. And I'm not one to like overlook that. I definitely have noticed that. And I'm thankful. Again, our developmental staff is awesome. Like we find Austin Reeves, we found Julius Randle and Ingram and all these guys, but like we are superstars, man. Like we'll just bring in LeBron James, right? We'll just bring in Luka Doncic. It's not like we drafted those guys, right? So I did want to say that, but I feel bad for AD and just try to set the scene a little bit. I think in 2021 things looked way different for the Mavericks, and we came on 3 Man, spoke highly about them, and how competitive they were, and just to like break it up so abruptly.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that abruptly, yeah, because it was, bro. You literally came off of a finals run, bro. It's like, yeah, it's to this day. I think that might be the worst trade we've ever seen. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be honest.
and I agree, and what they can do now, and a lot of podcasts have done the trade finders, whatever. I don't think they're going to trade Anthony Davis because then that would be like you gave away a guy, you didn't get a lot of value for him, okay, and now you're going to like cut your losses even more by getting less value for one of your players. Like you have to kind of use Anthony Davis now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's potentially on the table to trade him to the Hornets. You have to make the money work, but I think you can do Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller and a pick, and here's AD, and you can try it out with LaMelo. That's the only feasible trade out there. It needs to be a team with cap space. It can't be because then the teams that are in the apron, we've done it on the offseason files, they can't take back more money.
Yeah.
So like it's not going to work. You have to be mindful of Anthony Davis's massive player option that he's going to pick up, and he's done a lot of good business on the backside. Again, Rich Paul at clutch, and we don't talk about that a lot, but those guys with those Ben Simmons plus, right? He's getting, these cats get like 38 million to sit.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty nice to me. Anthony Davis is getting upwards of 40, I think almost 50 this year.
Yeah.
To sit. So we'll see, bro. We will see. I think Michael Finley's really smart. He would have never traded Luka, even though he removed the beer from his hand. But that's kind of my.
I like it. Yeah, no, you definitely gave a great perspective because obviously you benefited from that, but I think you're looking at it as just a whole as a basketball fan in general. You know what I mean? It's like why would you even put your franchise in that situation like this? And now you're out, and they just gotta kind of clean up the scraps. So it sucks, bro. It sucks being a Mavs fan right now, but we'll see.
They've got a Luka-sized hole in that offense, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom third in the league in offensive net rating, bottom third in the league in net rating, bottom third in the league in attendance. Like Dallas is such a great fan base, they won't go to the games if they're not given good basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame them. They had there's a clip, but the guy's like, Luka should have had a statue.
Mm-hmm.
Luka should have been right here. I'm like, man, bro, like, that is crazy because Pelinka would never trade Luka Doncic.
Mm-mm.
He'll trade anyone else before Luka Doncic. I know that to be true. So I am thankful for him, and I'm thankful that we benefited from that, bro. Like I can't even lie to y'all. I think the world is in business. It's zero sum, and somebody has to lose. Usually, it's very rare. We've seen actually some of the best trades in NBA history. Giddey and Caruso. Like some of these trades recently, Sabonis, Halliburton, been really good.
Mm.
But it's very rare that both teams win.
Right.
Like that illusion, like that's an illusion of that's why you trade. That's why you barter. That's why you make an agreement. Like there's always a dominant in these types of discussions, but usually people cease to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
It's business.
It's a business.
It's the NBA. It's dirty, man. Like I said, like I got on my phone, you saw it. Like they'll just call you up and say, "Hey, man, we made this, and this decision, and you're out of here, and we love you, but you got to get your shit now because you have to go do the medical." I think they'll fly you in and they'll get your medical like that day.
Yeah, right then and there.
Yeah, crazy stuff, bro. So it was sad seeing AD go. I low key shed a tear. I cried about that, bro, because I mean, he won a championship with us, and I honestly probably wouldn't have even traded him for Luka just because I'm stupid and I care about like the continuity of a team.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, Pelinka's above my head in that, so he can make that decision, and that's fine. But yeah, like obviously you want Luka Doncic on your team, but I think it's helped us, but it's also hurt us, and I'm sure you might see tonight like how that hurts us because then sometimes Luka's just it's his show,
right?
And I like the Luka show, but not 24/7.
Right.
Just like You like your favorite TV show, but not
All
24/7.
not all the yep. I agree.
So we'll talk. We'll just get into that, man. Like the Thunder, and because we have a like this. This is basketball's been at an all time high for me and CJ. Like outside of that darkness with the Mavericks, like I think they're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. They'll be all right. They'll probably tank. I don't think they make a trade, but they'll tank CJ and get a good pick,
Hmm.
and they may get lucky and get the one again. Who knows?
Man.
It might be just scripted in there, and who knows, bro? But they have hope. It's not all is lost, and Kyrie will come back eventually and probably be good.
Mm,
Kyrie's somebody that like even in an injury like this, I still think he gives you 20
hmm.
with 50, 40, 90. He won't be 27,
Right.
but it'll probably be 20.
Hmm.
And something that you can still use. So to kind of put a bow on that for the Mavericks fans, yeah, the Lakers took the cookies and we're that franchise that everybody hates, and that's fine. I'm a diehard Lakers fan, and you may have seen on IG, I have a picture of me in a Lakers hoodie, like old man. Like
Hmm.
I just have always bled purple and gold, but like my heart goes out to you guys, and hopefully, I've actually never experienced that like something like that in my life. Honestly, the Lakers have sucked before with Kobe on the team, but I've always had like a really, really good team, so I am thankful for that. I don't really know what that feels like, man.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be disrespectful to y'all, and like, but yeah, that would piss me off, and I, if that was my team, I would come on here and remind CJ every day,
Yeah.
So I completely understand, but yeah, I'm gonna move on from that, man. We got a Lakers and Thunder's matchup that does include Luka Doncic versus
Hmm.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, two of the most highly regarded basketball players in the world at the moment. Both not international guys. You saw the All-Star game format that
Mm.
officially came out.
Yep.
The little how they're gonna do the round robin, and we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But the makeup of this game is crazy, guys. Thunder come in at 11-1. I want to say something too about the Thunder, like just playing the most minutes, not having everybody healthy. They are, they are good,
Hmm.
guys. I mean, a plus 14 net rating. J Dub nowhere to be found. Chet Holmgren's barely touched the court. I
Hmm.
mean, when he does touch the court, you get 50, 40, 90, but he's just in and out of the lineup. Like, there's just no continuity there. And you would
Hmm.
think there would be, but they still find a way to win games and AJ Mitchell and all that. But for them right now, this is a chance to reinforce what I'm talking about. Because if they lose tonight, they're gonna hear it. I'm
Hmm.
sure Luca will let them know. I'll let them know. I'm like, I'm just of the belief they have the biggest target on their back because they are that good. And I mentioned to you, man, like to me, they're one of the best teams in the last decade. So they're allowing just 108.3 points per 100 possessions, which is best in the NBA. First in defensive net rating. They're just an impossible team right now to fathom. But we got a showdown, man. I think it's in Paycom.
In Paycon, yes, sir.
So we're on the road. Lakers are one of the better road teams in the NBA, of course. So that will be interesting to see, and I'm excited to see what you have to say about this one because
Y- Yeah.
I'm sure you got a lot to say about your Thunder, man. They just can't stop winning, and I'm sure it gets tough to talk about it. But um, I mean, iHeart, bro, he's averaging like 70. I think he's averaging 12 points, shooting 70% from the field. Holmgren's close to 50, 40, 90. Shea's getting 34, 33 a night with no fourth quarter minutes, by the way. Guess who averages, for starters, guess who averages one of the lowest fourth quarter minutes in the NBA right now? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. You want to know why? The Thunder are always winning.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, do I need to say more? He's getting 30 and three quarters, not four.
Yeah.
If he had as many as Luca, he might get as much as Luca.
Yeah. Yeah, no, bro. It's a big game, bro. Obviously for us personally, because you're a Lakers fan, I'm a Thunder fan, so I feel like there's always, anytime we play is always we gotta be locked in. But man, it's just the fact it's the way that y'all have been playing as of late. No, in kind of in our situation, you know what I mean. Shea has been there the whole
Same way.
season, but y'all didn't have Braun obviously, and then you didn't have Luca. AR steps up. You have Rui kind of stepping into his own on the offensive side, and being
He's been awesome.
kind of I wouldn't
He's
say
been the best, bro.
I was gonna
He's
say
been the best.
he's probably been obviously besides like your guys, he's
Luca,
been
yeah,
yeah,
like
like
we know that,
we know
bro.
that.
Really
He's
off
stepped up, bro. And like you said, what Marcus Smart
Aiden.
has been able to do, Aiton, y'all got a squad, bro. So, obviously being 11-1, that we're favorites, like you said, we're the better team technically, but I'll never count out a basketball team, bro.
LA.
You gotta go out day in day out and perform, coming off of a back to back, don't want to use that as an excuse, but that might have
That is true. I didn't bring that up.
that might have something to do with it. Like you said, our starters didn't really play the fourth quarter, so maybe that helps them out a little bit more. We could, kind of blitz y'all in the first quarter, but I know that Luca is always y'all as a squad, honestly, as a team, first quarter y'all usually end up blitzing a lot of teams. So
Blitzing.
that's gonna be very interesting to see what that looks like because we have played down certain times in certain games of the season, but that's something where like I keep bringing up our 3-point shooting. If we're not knocking them down, especially being at home, and we're going against a Lakers offense that's very explosive and can pop off for 40 points in a quarter, it's going to be a tightly contested game if that's the case. Obviously our defense is elite; it's the best in the league, so we could kind of hold our hat high on that side of the ball. But if we're not able to knock down our threes, and we have been doing a better job, so I know that something that I might stop saying less and less throughout the season, but as of right now, just need to see it consistently and going against. I brought this up to you. This is probably our biggest game of the season, as well as for y'all. And for us, for
Yeah.
basketball, like people that analyze basketball, it's a game to game basis. Football, it's week by week, and you're kind of looking at your schedule. Well, it's not as strong. They didn't go against these teams at this time, and this and that. Nah, basketball, you're playing against everyone at
Yeah. It's just
different points of the season,
yeah.
so it's a little. When you're analyzing it, you got to go about it a little differently. But I would say at this point of the time, this is our probably our highly anticipated game. Probably going to be our most competitive besides that Trailblazers game at the time. But I'm excited, bro. I think we're gonna get the Shea performance that we usually do. I think that's gonna be a given, but it's gonna be our secondary guys that are gonna have to step up in this one. The AJ Mitchells, Aaron Wiggins, Lou Dort's still been out. So like you said, we've been dealing
Do you
with a
have the
lot.
injury report? I
I,
was gonna ask you about that.
let me,
Can you
yeah,
pull it up?
I could pull it up real quick. Yeah, but
I don't know if you can talk and like look at stuff, but I
yeah,
did
yeah.
want to talk about that because I was wondering who was out for you guys.
So
That
out
might change.
out for us is Wiggins, Dort, Kenrich Williams, Topich, of course, and then J Dub. So no Wiggins.
Yeah, Kopic. Yeah, of course.
We're gonna have to get a huge performance from Isaiah Joe. I think what he's been
Oh
able to
yeah,
do. I think if he's knocking down the
he
threes,
kills us.
that this is just like one of those type of games for him. And then, like I said, bro, with the bigs, just what they've been
Holmgren.
able to do, Holmgren, iHeart, I think we can. Y'all's I would say y'all's front court is a little weaker,
And
obviously.
and
So I
yeah,
think
it's
that's
been
where we could kind of exploit y'all a little bit. And I think you brought that up when we were talking about the Mavericks and losing AD. He was holding that down for y'all. And Aiton, not the best defender, but he could give it to you on the offensive side. So I'm expecting that matchup to be pretty exciting between Chet and Aiton, or iHeart and Aiton, whenever you get the switches. And then Roy is obviously probably going to be playing that power forward spot,
yeah.
or Vando coming off the bench, probably guarding Shea. Y'all have very good defenders, so I think it's gonna be one of those games where if y'all blitz us from the beginning, we're not knocking down our threes, we're gonna have to play catch up. But I think our defense can kind of hold up, and we usually start off pretty rocky. There's certain point, we do pretty well on back to backs, actually, to be fair. But I think the thing with us is if once we start off slow, second half is when we'll make our adjustments, start to flow of the offense gets a little bit better. Like I said, defense isn't usually a problem for us, so I'm not really going to really talk about that. But offensively, if we can exploit the
Oh
paint,
gosh.
get those lobs that I was talking to you from Chet to iHeart, or iHeart to Chet, or like you said, the trailing screens that iHeart's able to provide, I think that's going to be a huge key of our offense. And if we could get that going, man, I think I'm thinking this is gonna be a close one. The spread's 8.5, so
Yeah.
we're favored by a lot. But I think this is gonna be one of those games where Luka's gonna do his thing, show us why the Lakers wanted to trade for him. And I think AR is gonna be a huge not wild card, X factor for y'all. If he's having himself a game that, we've seen him do, I think that's gonna be a not hard stop for us, but like you said, we're probably not gonna really double off of Luca.
It's
So
a
if
tough cover for sure
so
because you got to,
if AR gets it
a tough
going,
cover.
that's another problem that we're gonna have. And then if we do start doubling, then Luca's gonna find the open man. And if y'all are knocking down y'all shots, it's gonna be a little bit of back and forth game. But I think this is gonna be a good one, bro. I gotta go with my squad, bro. I think that's a given, but I think this is gonna be a good game, bro. Luka's probably gonna go off. Like you say, he never shies away from these type of moments, and I think our X factor for us is going to be the play with between our bigs. I think that's going to be such a huge factor. If Chet has not even the same game he had yesterday, because that's essentially a perfect game from the field, but I think if he could get a 20 and iHeart gives us 15 and 8 or something like that, I think that's going to be a huge X factor and really a deciding factor for us to end up getting this dub. So that's kind of my thoughts, bro. I think it's we're a 77% favorite to win, but I think that doesn't mean anything to me, bro. Y'all are one of the better teams in the NBA, and you've proven that to me and obviously to you. And you may have some things that you talk about them every pod, but I think, bro, like you got Luka, you got AR, Ayton. What they've been able to do offensively is fantastic, and going against a better defense, I guess this is a great test for y'all to see if it can
Yeah,
how it can hold up against
yeah,
one the best team in the league. So excited,
got
bro.
to show up there. Because if I was gonna say our issues are defensively, bro.
Hmm.
I feel like we're scoring 119 points a game, but we're giving up 117 a night.
Mm.
And Luka's averaging that 37 points, 9 assists, 9 boards, and he's putting up those crazy numbers. And Aiton's flying around, but Jake LaRavia,
Hmm.
Dalton Connect, like that's how we win this game, man. I think we know what we're gonna get from Luka and AR. Obviously, no Braun and Holmgren being in makes it tougher. This morning, I think the spread was at 6.5 because I think he was questionable. But yeah, if Holmgren's in, that two big lineup's gonna terrorize us a little bit. I think defensively, man, we have to find an answer for Shea and hopefully Marcus in foul trouble as well. I'm worried about Aiton's foul trouble and just if we're very thin on the bench. So if guys are 3, 4 fouls this late in the game, Marcus Smart can't always guard Shea, and that's going to be an issue. But I do see us competing on the offensive end, and if we hit our threes, anything can happen. I think hitting our threes probably, and also defending well is probably the two biggest X factors for us because I feel like Laravia, Hachimura, Reeves, and Doncic, they all get it going from three. It's just a tough cover. It's a tough ask for any team in the NBA to go out and guard those types of players. And the Thunder have the best defense in the NBA. Like you said, it's a litmus test for where we are at in the season. And our offensive rating says we're among the elite. I'm excited to see the pick and roll action between Ayton and Doncic. I don't think the Thunder will double. I'm not exactly sure who's on the injury report for us. It's probably Gabe Vincent,
Mm.
LeBron, Thero. I could
Yeah,
probably name it with that because I know.
yeah, that's the
But
three.
yeah, like the natural way that it's been going, we have continuity. It's not like LeBron hasn't just went out, right? So it's like I know who's on the injury report. Everybody's pretty much good to go. I'm just ready, man. Like at this point, it's in like 20-ish minutes, but I think just the culmination of where the season's gone to now. He's gone by pretty fast for me and you, bro. But I think this is where it like slows down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're able to like watch our two teams play each other, kind of see where we're at. And I think over the last 5 games, we've been giving up like 120 points per contest. I think it ranks like 16th in the NBA or something like that. So our defensive issues, man, it's just that's really what's going to show me if we're ready to take that next step as like a championship contender. Because I feel like our offense is already among the elite top 5, top 6 in the NBA, but like our defense is so mid bottom pack that it's really hard to beat a team that's so complete like the Thunder. I think they have a better bench as well, so that will be a factor, especially on a back to back. But ultimately, the I think this matchup between Shea and Luka, if I'm not mistaken, is like the highest points per game combination since I think Rick Barry and Elgin Baylor. I think Shea's averaging like 33 a night, Luka's 37, so that totals like 69 or 70 points a night. Then Elgin Baylor averaged 31.8, and then Rick Barry averaged, what was it? Let me see, 38.6.
Mm.
So since those two guys went head to head a minute ago, I think it was in 66, if I have the date right. This is the highest combined points per game that a backcourt has, and I think those two guys are the best scorers in the NBA right now. I didn't want to I know I said Shea was going to win the MVP, and obviously he should be number one, but like Luka should be at 2.
I agree. The fact that he
Like
wasn't
even
even
though
on
he
that list
missed,
blows my mind.
yeah, bro. That's not right. He's literally getting like 40, 9 and 9. Like he gets 40.
40, yeah.
And he's been doing it for like 6 or 7 games. Like it's not like for 3 games. It's
Right.
like he really gets 38 a night.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we got to start rewarding winning. We don't suck either. So
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah, that's why I was
hopefully
like,
NBA,
it'd be different if y'all weren't winning. You know what I mean? I'd understand.
we were like,
it.
yeah, 2-8 or
Right.
something.
But
But
y'all
like,
are
bro,
winning.
like we're like good.
Yeah.
So like, I was a little shocked by that, but I think that adds more fuel to the fire in this one. And last point for the audience, but the Lakers and the Thunder are among the top 15 scoring teams in the NBA, but they're also among the bottom in the NBA in pace. So it'll be interesting. I think the Thunder are at 100.27 in pace, 23rd in the NBA. The Lakers are at 100.5, which is 20th. So they, we play a little quicker, but the Thunder and the Lakers are both like with the slowest teams in the NBA. So it's kind of interesting, even though they score a lot of points.
I would say that is very interesting because, like you said, we're top 15 and for offense as a team, but we're also the slowest. So I guess that just means it means we're just efficient. You know what I mean? Able to get our shot
and score points per possession. I think that's what it's called. But like your PPP is high, so you're just getting a lot of points per possession. But yeah, I would like for us to be, again, we talked about the Luka show a little bit. I love the Luka show. It's one of my favorite TV shows to watch, but not all the time. I think the pace is an issue with that. Can we go a little faster? Like I know you want to like dribble it until 14 is on the shot clock, but like go. The Thunder are one of the better transition defense teams in the NBA too. Like they don't run a ton, which is odd because they're very young, but like if we speed it up, I still think the Thunder, like they can play the pace of the Heat if needed. Like they can go quicker. So I expect an over. Like I think it's like I forget the total. It might be in the 220s, high 227 maybe.
229.
So 229. It went up 2 points with Chet. Fine, but I think it's still they go over. It's just based off. I think these offenses are too much. And I think the Thunder defense will shine in this one, but I think they'll start to struggle in the second half. I think their legs will show up for them in this first half, but hopefully we can hit them where it hurts in that third quarter. And we've really struggled in third quarters and second halves in general. Like you said, we blitz teams. Luka plays all 12 minutes usually in the first quarter, and we try to get as many points as possible to get out to that early lead. But against a team like the Thunder, it's very hard to do that. So I'm excited, man. We'll get going on stream pretty soon because it's a pretty good one, a pretty good matchup. I got to grab a charger and charge my phone and get ready. But yeah, what a better way, man. This is like probably the best night so far for me. I know we had opening night, but this is the biggest game of the season for us. And like I said, it's a litmus test for where we're at. And I think JJ just said we can't overlook any team in the NBA, and definitely not the defending champs.
Yeah, bro. It's a banger, bro. Like you said, it's probably the best night. The fact that we're able to shoot a pod and then we're gonna hop on stream and be able to watch the game together, see our reactions live. So I'm excited, bro. Can't wait. It's gonna be a banger. If y'all are seeing this later, we're gonna be trying to doing this more often on live on Assist. So stay tuned for those. But man, was there anything else you wanted to say before we head out, bro?
Nah, just go Lake Show, man. Nico Harrison, I think we'll put that behind us, and just yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but like I know it's hard to watch the games, but whenever you can, bro, just try to watch Wemby. Try to. I know they're not putting it on like even it's behind the paywalls now for national, but just do what you can, bro.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this stuff is like I don't like missing out on greatness, even if I gotta pay.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I think it's worth it. So this game is worth it. You know, seeing Wemby's worth it. Like all the crazy stuff that's going on in the NBA is worth it. Just keep watching hoops, man, and we'll keep bringing value.
Yeah. Yes, sir, man. ZD said it. Watch hoops. Thunder up, baby. You know the vibes. And guess we'll see y'all next time, man. Peace.
Peace.
Three
Three
man,
man,
three
three
man, three
man.
man.
Wow.